Brian, why do you support this idea of building back better?
Because I support not being the only country in the world not allowing its government to negotiate lower drug prices for people. I believe that we should expand Medicaid to cover vision, hearing, and dental so that the people who need it most can get it. I support offering paid sick leave like every other industrialized nation in the world. I support addressing climate change, even as storms and wildfires destroy our infrastructure. I think we should modernize the electricity grid. I think we should allow for child and elder care to free up caretakers to go participate in the economy so they can get jobs and stimulate the economy. Not only does all of this make sense, it should be the bare minimum for the most prosperous country in the world, just like it is for every other major industrialized country in the world.
Michael.
Well, I suppose that all sounds very well and good. If I'm opposing this, I suppose I oppose building back better, right? But I think beyond those slogans, which we could all agree on, yes, we all want children to be raised very well, and we all want everyone to be treated equally, and we want to protect the environment. And of course, the question is this the way to do it? This is a bill that is going to cost $3.5 trillion on paper, but it's actually going to cost a lot more than that. Economic analysis has suggested it could be as much as $5.5 trillion, and even the New York Times acknowledges that it's going to cost much, much more than $3.5 trillion. And so beyond all the goodies and the freebies and the very nice things that we all can agree on, let's look at what this law does that is perhaps not so nice and not so popular. You've got a doubling of the size of the IRS and a lot of money being spent to do that. And furthermore, you're giving the IRS in this law the ability to look into your bank account if you have more than $600 in that bank account. So this is a huge expansion of the administrative state and the power of the federal government to look into your affairs. There are a lot of payoffs to public and private sector unions, I suppose, in here, and this is because they're a major constituency of the Democratic Party. And then there's this issue of the debt. I mean, let's not forget the numbers here. It's not the be-all and end-all, but we have a $28 trillion debt in this country right now. Within 10 years, debt to GDP ratio is going to be well over 100%. And this is a drag on the economy, and it also raises serious political questions. What kind of a country is it that leaves as an inheritance to the next generation lots and lots of debt? It's a national security problem. It puts us in a position of weakness and without very much leverage to our greatest geopolitical enemies, notably China. And it's an agenda that's not very popular. I think this is why Joe Biden's approval rating, even according to the very left-wing Quinnipiac poll, is in the 30s right now. It's really, really low, and I think it speaks to the unpopularity of his broader agenda.
Brian, do you think Republicans have consistently been focused on debt?
Yeah, I think starting January 20th, 2021, Republicans have started focusing on the debt. Here's the thing. First of all, this bill is paid for, and it's paid for in ways that are even more popular than the actual provisions of the bill itself. It's paid for by raising taxes on companies that don't pay. It's paid for by raising taxes on the ultra-wealthy, those making over $400,000 a year. It's paid for increasing capital gains taxes on the wealthy. And like Michael said, by increasing IRS funding, because for every dollar spent, the IRS can generate $6 in returns from tax cheats. So for those who oppose this legislation, it really does speak volumes about the kind of people that they're protecting. The fact is that the only reason that Republicans oppose this is because these provisions threaten their entire reason for being in government, which is to coddle the rich. The people who claim that we can't afford these monumentally popular provisions like the ones in the Build Back Better Act are the same people who were frothing at the mouth when Republicans passed a $2 trillion tax cut that overwhelmingly favored the rich. When you spend on the ultra-rich, the deficit doesn't exist, but try to help a teacher or a secretary or a nurse, and suddenly we are Ireland during the Great Famine.
Your comment there, Michael.
Well, I think we might have some common ground here, because I have absolutely no problem having wealthy Democrats pay more money in taxes. And let's not forget, the wealthy in this country are disproportionately likely to vote for Democrats, not Republicans, despite common misconception to the contrary. I have no problem having giant woke corporations paying more in taxes. That would be fine by me. But what this represents, I think, this Biden agenda is a power grab. It is a way to spend a lot of money to entrench power, to increase federal spending as a percentage of the economy pretty significantly, and to this point on the IRS, to give the government a lot more power, not just over the wealthy, who disproportionately actually favor this agenda because they have very good accountants who can get around it anyway, but ordinary Americans, anyone with more than $600 in your bank account, the government's coming to look at your books.